lot of it is driven by the state, which is really interesting. And I want to see if you have some other examples that could sort of maybe paint a picture as to the role of the state in catalyzing entrepreneurship.
Well, if you look at the history of China, till about 30 years, till Deng Xiaoping, the lead in China, China was a planned economy, right? And going through a tremendous process of moving into market economy. When you say market in China, it's still not, as we see it, as a fully free market. Still the government is playing the most important role in most of the part of it. And for foreigners player, you can divide China into four categories. They say forbidden, where foreign players cannot play, national security, and this list, by the way, is growing now into IT and other field. Restricted, like education, like broadcasting, like oil industry, where you can play but under some restrictions. Enabled, like I was helping a coffee chain to come to Shanghai to open a coffee chain. Is enabled. You want to come to open a coffee shop, you're welcome to do. And they encourage. And most of my deals or most of my activities are on the encourage part, because the China government knows very well to encourage foreigners to come in. When they do so, when you have something they need. So it's kind of a cycle, if you look at it, in many industries, from the IC to the car industry and etc., where there was not enough local knowledge. They opened the door for foreigners to come in, first by importing, then by letting the foreigners manufacture in China, and moving to a local manufacturing and kick the foreigners out. Now they give you enough opportunity to make a living, but if you believe that your grandchild will run your business in China, most likely it will not happen. It will move to Chinese hand, unless you have a brand. Brand is a different category. But if we say industrial and etc., you have to follow this cycle. So export to China first, manufacture in China second, sell your business before someone else will do it better than you, cheaper than you, and will kick you out of the market.
So how does it change the pressure on the venture investor, right? So we're familiar with a lot of rules of thumb, right? And so Mike Volker over in Vancouver, he's taught a lot of us some of these quick stats, right? So angel investors ought to put 50 grand into 25 things to hope that one works, right? And they ought to be prepared to reload, right? On that one that's, to double down on that one that's actually working, right? Professional VCs, their hit rate is more like 1 in 16 or something like that. And they're looking for an IRR of 40 to 45%, something like that. So if you're telling me that when you invest in something in China that is in an encouraged category, you have to have it even more of a cash cow because there's an endpoint, right? That's not up to you, right? So you're in even more of a frenetic hurry to find the thing that has the most ridiculous returns, unless I'm missing something.
Yep. Well, it's true, but it depends on the length of the cycle. Like if you look at the heavy industries like IC and car, it takes 10 to 20 years, so it's not a short return. But there is no lack of capital in China. What Chinese are looking for is either new technology, or, and I would say technology in a wide range. It's also including know-how. It's access to markets, so able to export to more markets than they can do today. It's a brand in the specific segment, not only consumers, but also industrial brands and etc. So if you have something like this, Chinese can be interesting. And if you have it here and you want to attract Chinese investors, you should also make sure that what you have has great potential in China. Otherwise, they will not take it back. And it should be encouraged by the Chinese government. And if to add to that, you also should have a very solid, good management. Usually, Chinese investors are not looking for the turnaround investment, like you take something mature with as much cash flow as possible at the moment, and doing the profit by taking it back to China. You are very much right. The Chinese investors they have short range of patience, right? They will not probably invest in something unless they are government and they have different ideas. But if they are financial investors, they want to go quick. And you can see it also in the valuation you can get today in the Chinese stock exchange, which interestingly is a bit inverse to what's going on in North America. Meaning, if you have a wonderful dream, most likely you will get lower PE than you can get in North America. The Chinese philosophy will say, you have a wonderful dream, wonderful, realize it, and I will pay you more. Right? But if you have a private equity business that is mature, etc., they most likely will be willing to pay you higher PE than you can get in the North American market.
Funny. So what do you think right now are the sweet spots? What do you see in terms of industry, certain foci or ones where you're really looking for deals, or you think that people on the audience ought to know, hey, you got something that could be really wonderful in China?
Well, I have to admit that I'm an old economy guy. I'm not much into social media and this kind of investment. And I think this is also true for China in general. So whatever is going for technology in a very wide range, from medical to clean tech, to industrial technologies and etc. And I actually gave my sixth consideration how to see if I believe in something has potential in China or not. These were the 6 criteria that I mentioned before. If you have something like this, I think you should look into China. Another segment, which I think Canada is also strong at, is consumer brands. The Chinese consumer first, they are young. Just 30 years ago, they were buying whatever was given to them. They were not buying, right? They were getting vouchers and they were getting whatever the factory or whatever they were was giving them. So they are young consumers. And also they have limited trust in what is being told to them by the Chinese manufacturers. So when we go into especially these things that are related to well-being, trust is a key issue. And Canada enjoys very good brand or perception in China. So having a trustable consumer brand is very valuable in the Chinese market.
So talk to me about something that I started
Am I
to
answering
see.
you too seriously?
Yeah, no, it's great. We're going to keep talking for the 20 minutes. We got a whole bunch more that we're hopefully give the audience a sense, if they don't already have it, like, wow, this is what a great opportunity to get all this hot knowledge, right? As I was leaving China, and it's about 1.5 years ago, I started to notice the real intense activity around what I would call like health foods, dried foods, and of course, as some of you probably know from living in Asia or visiting there for an extended period, when you go to the grocery store, you're told you want to buy the apples from Australia, or Chile. You don't want to buy the ones that don't say some other country on them because you don't know where they came from or how that occurred. So talk to us about this consumer trend in terms of health food, and whether you see that pulling these businesses.
Well, you hope that the one with the sticker made in Australia
Hold the
is actually
mic
made in
closer.
Australia. I say you very much hope that the apple with the sticker made in Australia is actually made in Australia. There is a joke in China that there are a lot of farms growing Australian meat in China. And food safety is a big issue. And I did several projects in food. One of them, for example, in aquaculture, bringing technology for high efficiency of fish pools. And I had dinner with drinks with the owner, and he didn't serve his fish. So I asked him, why you don't serve us your fish? So he said, I don't eat my own fish. Yeah, so there is a big issue of food safety in China, antibiotics and chemicals and etc. So that more wealthy Chinese are definitely willing to spend a lot on buying healthy food. My own wife, although I told her that the tomatoes she's buying in the more expensive shops are exactly the same as the tomato that you can buy in the market, she was insisting to buy the most expensive tomatoes, hoping that they were done in a better food safety manner.
So I lived downtown here for a couple of years in Victoria, in Canada's oldest Chinatown, right? And so after a couple of weeks, I befriended this guy named Andy, who's a Chinese immigrant who ran the convenience store there in Pandora and Government. And I thought, well, I don't know which are the good Chinese restaurants here in Victoria's China. So I go down there and I ask him, man, where should I eat dinner? Man, I want to have some Chinese food. He goes, no, don't eat Chinese food. Eat the French food over there. Don't eat any Chinese food. Right, so this is a common thing, right?
My Chinese friends here also complain that Victoria has no good Chinese restaurant. They have to go to Vancouver to eat proper Chinese food. And in Israel, we have the same problem. You cannot find a real Chinese food restaurant. Even you can find what we call Western Chinese food, right? Egg rolls or things like this, but not the actual. And Chinese food is great. Although saying Chinese food, you're basically saying, it's like saying European food. Right, so the food culture is very important, and there's a diversity of wonderful food from east and west, north and south.
So as we're talking about B2C businesses, talk to me a little bit more about the format of what's working in China. To get this healthy food to the people, is it going to be through a chain like a Whole Foods, or is it going to be something where people are participating in really small-scale farming on the balcony of their apartments? or commuting out to a plot out where they're sharing some community gardening. What does it look like? If people want healthy food, and there's a billion of them, how are they going to get healthy food? How can we be part of that?
Well, actually, it's all included. China is so big that you can find everything you want in China. You can buy cheap or expensive. You can buy high quality or low quality. Your iPhone is manufactured in China and is considered high quality. So you can find everything of the above in China. But still, I think if you want to go in a solid way to China, you have to go in the mainstream. I'm doing now a project. I'm traveling to China about every month. Like I spend a week in China. I'm doing a project related to turkey birds. We are helping the #1 global breeder called Aviagen of turkey bird. The turkey bird consumption in China is very low, even compared to other Chinese communities in the world. They don't eat turkey birds. And we try to ask ourselves why. And we find out that in our North American way of thinking or European thinking, we compare turkey birds to poultry, right? This is the substitute. But Chinese say, if this is the case, then better we eat poultry, right? But if you compare turkey birds to pork, then you have a lot of advantages. So the positioning we did is substitute to pork. So you will not find it sliced as a sausage or something like this. You will find it on the bone, eating by hand, and etc. as you eat pork. I'm giving this example to say that many things that are in our intuition, you have to open your mind. I think one of my first experience in China was to cross the road. I don't know if any one of you tried to cross a road in a busy Shanghai street. You don't know how it works. Because all of us believe that if I have the green light, I have the priority, right? Well, in China, by law, it's different. Now they're changing it in the big cities, but in China, by law, if you have green, it still go according to the rule, the stronger has the priority. So if it's either you or the bus has the priority. And it has a lot of sense, by the way, because the one to pay the price and on this is you, not the bus, right? So, but I found myself, I don't understand how it works, so I had to go to find Chinese people and shoulder to shoulder to cross the road. Then I understood this, that I don't have the priority.
Like rugby, right? You just have to get yourself packed in the middle of 7 or 8 strong guys.
So I see now foreigners, getting upset on the cars that don't give them the priority. Well, you are violating the code. So this is to say that when you come to China, you have to understand the code is different. There is a lot of politeness, there is a lot of culture, it's just different. So you have to open your eyes and see what are the differences. The good news, still profit is revenue minus expenses is profit. Right? So it's not different in China. So if you want to do business, you have to make sure that your revenues are higher than your expenses. But many other things are different. And that's what's fascinating me in doing cross-border transactions. It's all about people.
You remind me of so much funny stuff, and I hope that folks in the audience are having the same sort of fireworks in their mind. And I remember I went to it was a North American style Thanksgiving feast at a Marriott hotel, and and you're going through the big beautiful silver trays, and you're opening them up, and I saw one of the little cards. And I thought, this is one of those funny little Chinese typos that people put up on Facebook. Isn't this hilarious that it says chicken feet? And I'm thinking, it must mean chicken legs, it must be chicken thighs, drumsticks. You open it up, no shit, this is feet. Close it and move along, right? And so, the idea of keeping an open mind, the place causes you to have an open mind because I won't tell you what was in the other terrains, right? And you'll have to find that out for yourself. So there's a term that maybe is a little bit academic in terms of the exact wording of it, but I think we all understand this, and I want to get your reaction. There's a term called legislated demand, right, that we talk about in business school, and what we describe is, you can have a hockey stick curve where you're predicting market adoption, right, where we're going to do this, and then somebody's going to tell a friend, and this guy tells a friend, and we've got the viral coefficient of K, and our business is slowly building, and then, boom, it takes off. Or you can have a business where you go from nearly nothing to freaking everybody buys your product, right? And